Is this thing on? Hello. Welcome to me doing something I've not done before, but we're going to try it because why not? It's fun. I am streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. Please get your questions in. Do that. It'd be nice. I'm here because it's going to be a huge day of Championship football. So I figured, why not do fun live stuff? So I'm going to try and get some. I've never done this before, so if you want to, comment and ask questions while we all watch the football together, then that would be lovely, because that's like how it works, isn't it? It's a huge day of Championship football, and in between doing some bits and bobs for work today, I figured this would be a fun thing to do. So that's what we're going to do. So yeah, I'll just sort of talk to myself for 2 hours whilst watching the game. And it's going to be a cracker. I'm very interested to see how Leicester deal with all the shenanigans of recent weeks, and then especially that pretty painful defeat on Good Friday at Bristol City. That was a ping. Why was that a ping? Which would be good. I'm not going to sit here running a commentary, obviously. No one wants that. But I'm very interested if you want to message me while you're watching. Otherwise, I will just continue to talk, which is something I can do as well. So that's grand. I don't know. I've not done this before, so I'm not sure how it works. I don't know if I want to sit here and comment. No one wants me to commentate on the game, but I am watching the game. And Norwich have been a bit dubious on the road from what I've seen, but likewise, the great win at Stoke recently, and they're in great form. It's a settled side and all that sort of stuff. That said, you look at this Leicester side: Vestergaard, Valfaz, Harry Winks, Daka, Mavididi, Fatawu. There's a lot of good players in that Leicester team, aren't there? They really should be going up, which is probably why their fans booed at full time on Friday at Ashton Gate. So we will see how it goes. If this proves a complete waste of time, I will just can it, obviously. But Vestergaard and Josh Sargent have already clashed heads, so that's fun. But, I mean, if I'd have worked on this in advance, then I would have added fun things in, like tickers and stuff. But I haven't done that, so I could sit here trying to do that now, so you know what the score is, because lots of people do these and they have all the fancy graphics around the side, don't they? I do not have that. So there we go. It's 1 minute 30 in, and I'd say probably about half of that time has been spent with treatment to Vestergaard, but he's all right to carry on. So that's grand. Low key start. I'm going to, people might want to see what the score is. Although you can probably do that as well, can't you? And I assume that everyone's okay with silence. I love doing stuff like this. It's all good fun. Ipswich obviously kicking off later. Oh, look at that. There you go. That's exciting. Very easy to do. I'm going to update that as we go along. That's exciting. Crackerjack. There you go. It's in purple. Do I need my name on there? We don't need my name on there. Shall I remove my name? Maybe we can't remove my name. We have to have my name. No, you don't. So there we go. Join me. Please discuss with me. I mean, I can look at it myself, but delighted to see Sam McCallum is playing regularly, and that's good. I like him a lot. He's a great lad. That said, I did think he got caught out once or twice against Plymouth positionally, but if you're asked to, bomb on a bit and then something breaks down, you need other players to step across and help you out, obviously. But there we go. Who we got joining me? Hello there. Hi, Matt Brody from Regional Victoria. Is Regional Victoria, what's regional? I'd like to know what Regional Victoria is. Please let me know what region. I'm going to move the camera a bit. What Regional Victoria is? Is that, do you mean as in Australia? If so, we might have to start talking AFL if the football doesn't go very well. We'll start talking footy instead. Oh, Simon Duarte says my favorite thing looks very professional. Thank you, Simon. I've tried. It's very important to me that this stream looks quite strong. I've been working on it. I did a check-in a few weeks ago, which is my first dabble. So hopefully I'm going to do more of these regularly. And it looked terrible. So I'm cabled up. We'll see if this works. I've got a different camera. There's a Leicester corner in. Looks like a pretty good defensive header there from, might have been Stacey or McCallum. Early pressure from Leicester, though, who are on top. So thank you. I hope the stream is coming through well. And Simon agrees with me, which is always a good place to start. McCallum's option of a long throw. Yes, indeed. Norwich have had some people who try to do long throws, but actually can't throw the ball very far. So there we go. It's a modest setup, isn't it? Look at that. You've got a little score going along the bottom. Maybe I should add in the games later tonight. That would be a good feature, but we'll just watch this attack. Leicester sort of a camped around Norwich's box at the minute. Dewsbury Hall is a lovely player, but he's overplayed that and ran out of play. So there we go. Very close to leaving in January, Dewsbury Hall. And the result is probably that Leicester are now screwed in terms of PSR. But it's one of the other fun things you get to do with football these days. You get to balance your books and threaten to lose points with that. So there we go. We are 5 minutes in. And Leicester have had certainly most of the territory. In fact, Norwich have not really done anything yet so far. Leicester controlling territory, and you'd expect that. But there's going to be 2 or 3 really big moments in this game, and it's going to be fascinating to see how Leicester deal with that. Subs bench looks a bit light, says Smokey Joe. The Norwich bench. Well, possibly, but then that is the squad, really, isn't it? It's a couple of youngsters, Finley Welch and Ken Abowen. Van Hooijdonk is there. Some players who've done quite well coming off the bench, but yeah, it's a little bit thin. The Leicester bench, James Justin, Connor Cody, Dennis Pratt, Chowdhury, Jamie Vardy. He's quite good. Kelechi and Nacho. Yeah. I think that's all right, isn't it? So yeah, Leicester's bench is significantly stronger than Norwich's. Norwich have the ball deep in their own half. Angus Gunn playing it out to Kenny McLean. Probably player of the season from a Norwich perspective. I'm conscious of not talking too much from a Norwich perspective. I'd like to do it in a balanced way today, but we've got big games coming up later, which I might sort of stream bits of. I know Benjamin Bloom's doing the Ipswich game later, so give him a follow because he does this properly. That's a poor touch there from Winks, I think it was. And you could just tell Leicester sort of forcing the issue in their final third, really. But that's a rather unnecessary corner that Jack Stacey's just given away. So, or is it a throw? I think it's a throw. He was shaping up to throw it in. No, it's definitely a corner, surely. So it's pretty much 7 minutes of pressure for Norwich to have dealt with so far. Leicester would love an early goal, given all they've been through, and it probably would set the tempo. Again, Norwich get first contact on the defensive header, and the corner is clear. Simon, I'd hate to think of the level of investment in the playing squad needed if we get to promotion. Yes, indeed. Norwich should finish in the top 6 from here. I'm convinced of it. They're easily good enough. But given the setup of the rest of the Championship as well. But yeah, it's a frightening thought to think of Norwich playing in the Premier League. But then if any of these teams should have that same frightening thought, even Leicester, it's a good squad, but dealing with this in the Premier League is very different. Gorilla VR. Hello, Gorilla. Happy Easter to you too. I have come with Easter chocolate. this update is brought to you by just me. I'm not sponsored by Tony's, but if they want to send me more chocolate, do obviously. Is that how this works? Do I have to put hashtag ad at that point? So I'm looking forward to opening those at some point. Maybe it'll depend on how the score's going. We could do that. So it's now a Leicester free kick deep in the Norwich final third, which Norwich just about defend. But if it carries on like this for another 5-10 minutes, then Angus Gunn is going to get called into action, and Leicester are going to force the issue. So there we go. Yeah, bring any questions and comments you want while we go through. Hello, I am currently live on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook, I think, at the moment. Oh, and this looks a bit of a worry. Jakob Sørensen is down, and he's coming off. That's a real shame, because I think for Jakob's own situation, he could really have done with staying fit here. He has not had a good time of it with injuries, and he is coming off, and he's feeling the back of his right hamstring. So it's Shane Duffy time, everyone. Shane Duffy time. And I feel for Jakob, because I think he's out of contract. There might be an option, I can't remember, but I think he's out of contract this summer. And yeah, he's a lovely footballer, but he just has not been fit enough in these seasons. So that is Norwich being thrown into an early change. And we now have the Shane Duffy, Ben Gibson dynamic at the back. Save your messages on that being the end of this game for later, unless you want to get them in now. Let me add these other games in, shall I? What was the other thing I was going to check? Oh, yeah, I was going to share it, wasn't I? That's right. Let's do that. Just going to share this excellent stream on Twitter, or X, if you like. Who doesn't? I mean, I assume I am live. Yeah, it's working, so and I can now hear myself in my voice. So that's not good. But there we go. This is all exciting. You'll be watching the football at the same time, so that's fine. Norwich are in the Leicester half. Claxon. No one wants me to talk repeatedly anyway, so. That's a shame for Jakob Sørensen. I find that a big shame. X doesn't like sharing Instagram links. That's one thing I've learnt, but it's pretty good with YouTube. So let's see if we've done that. I don't want to keep listening to myself doing that. Well, it's 0-0. Nothing. We're 11 minutes in. Nothing's really happened short of Jakob Sørensen going off injured, which is a shame. Simon, Jakob really unlucky with injuries indeed. Well, it's not so much a luxury, because if a player isn't the best ability is availability. That's what I got told once, and you can kind of understand why. It's just a real shame, and I don't know if it's the intensity of the training or it's just misfortune. It's hard to say, but yeah, Norwich might well cut their losses, and be a shame. Matt's back. I presume from Victoria in Australia, but I want to know where regional Victoria is. I haven't played for a little bit. They do look quite clean, but that's because I keep my clubs really well. I'm certainly better at keeping them than playing with them. And yeah, Simon agrees. Indeed. Isn't that the joy of golf? There's another cross into the box. Angus Gunn claims well. What you would say is that Leicester have had the territory in possession, but there's been no real alarm bells. 13 minutes in for Norwich, they look reasonably comfortable. I should probably say at this point that I am probably a couple of minutes behind anyone watching actually on the telly. I can't watch on the telly because it's downstairs, so I'm on I'm on my little iPad, which is streaming it, and that always sticks about 90 seconds on the delay. So essentially, you are likely to find out if there's a goal before me, but we can still join in that. Maybe you could warn me so I know it's coming. But yeah, so far Leicester have had the ball a lot more than Norwich, and certainly the territory. But Norwich haven't looked particularly stirred. Leicester, you can tell that they're in a sticky moment. There's not a particular fluency with them in the final third. The luggage put 20 quid on Leicester not to win, so that's a draw on Norwich. I'd say that's decent. Oh, Norwich into the final third. It's a left-footed ball from Borja. Signs on the left, but easily swings into keeper's arms. It wasn't a great delivery. I mean, Borja's ideal really when he's cutting inside, running down the middle, and then he can bang one in, bending inside the far post with his right foot. That is the goal he scores, isn't it? Simon Duarte's listening on the radio. Good choice. Hope that's Radio Norfolk, and you're getting to hear a bit of Chris Gorham. I'm getting Twitter updates coming through, or X updates, so I'm probably likely to get those before I see any action, but that's okay too. This is a watch along. We're just watching along, aren't we? What else is there to it? It is Australia, 3 hours north of Melbourne. Well, how lovely. Next question. That 3 hours north of Melbourne, is that in the bush? Oh, hang on, Leicester. Daka, it's at Daka. He's tried to scoop it above. Angus Gunn's done really well there. He's come to the edge of his box. Daka was played through. Started off on the left touch. No, sorry, started off central half space on the left. Got to the ball first. Angus Gunn's right at the edge of his penalty area. In fact, he almost ventures outside. Daka doesn't do really enough with that. If he'd taken his time and got the ball back, all he has to do is try and find a teammate beyond the keeper, because Angus is absolutely in no man's land, but instead Angus blocks the poor cut back and it goes out for a corner, and Norwich clear first contact from the corner again. So they're looking pretty solid so far. Norwich defensively, let's say Leicester having a fair few set pieces. I'm not sure what we're on for set pieces now. Let's have a quick look. But Leicester have had 2 corners so far. Massive cheer as Leicester switch the ball out to Watara on the right. So they've obviously been pretty frustrated that Fatawu hasn't been involved. He tries to put a cross in then. I mean, this gets checked in the Premier League. VAR checks this. Indeed, he crosses the ball. For me, Gibson's arm is down by his side. So even though he goes sliding in, his arm isn't really making his body bigger. It does hit his arm. But it's not a penalty in my view. Not that I know what the rules are. It is a Leicester corner. Oh, cup of tea, by the way. Happy Easter tea. Happy Easter to you all. If I said that, I'll say it again. Happy Easter. We've now got loads of people live. So happy Easter to you all. This is what. Tell me if I'm supposed to be doing something else. As I said, I've not done this before. So I'm literally just talking and drinking tea. And soon I'll be cracking open the Tonys from Easter. And I hope you're doing similar whilst watching the game, which is what I'm doing. This is like modern life, right? Winks from the edge of the area. Bobbles low. Well wide of the goal. Angus Gunn runs after it to get ready for his goal kick. That was exciting, wasn't it? What was I going to say? Oh, sorry, Matt. I've left your thing up there, haven't I? Matt, yeah, is that in the bush? I'm going to keep this line of questioning. Is that in the bush 3 hours north of Melbourne? It's probably a really, really ignorant question. Apologies. I'd like to know your AFL team. Please tell me your AFL team. Or you might not like AFL. That's fine, but I'm curious. Who else is on here? Simon, yes. Hello, Simon. Tough game for Duffy to jump into. Needs to get up to speed quickly. Look, good so far. I think the way Leicester are playing, Norwich is sitting in a bit when Leicester have the ball, so it's probably given him a bit of settling in time, and he'll be up to speed now, I'm sure. And I'm glad you're listening to Mr. Gorham. Great stuff. Keep the questions coming, because there's not much you're missing in the football. Wout Faz has just been penalised for a foul on halfway, and he's not very happy about it. He's shouting a lot. That foul was on Gabby Sarah, who's been quite quiet so far, but you wouldn't bet against him popping up, doing something. The luggage, Michael. What do you think of each of the players on Norwich's bench? Names they're not familiar with. Well, let me rattle through them quickly. George Long is obviously sub goalkeeper. Montoya, is he Chilean? I'm going to check this now. I am a little bit out of the loop, so you are going to have to go with me a little bit. Oh, he's Portuguese left back, who is they signed. He's sort of a youngster, isn't he? He's only 20. And so it's great for him to see him involved on the bench. So he's obviously been doing well in the 21s. Danny Bath, experienced centre back, of course. Liam Gibbs, young Norwich midfielder, who's sort of had a bit of stagnated progress, which isn't necessarily down to him. That could sometimes be to whether the coach likes you or not. Christian Faschnacht. Now Norwich are in here. Stacey with the ball across. He's going to go out for a corner. It's Norwich's first corner of the game. Norwich corner. I can hear the yellows. Do you see Abbo staying at Norwich? I don't know. They should do. If they've got a young talent, then they should be keeping hold of him. So yeah, let's hope they sort that out, because that will be, I'm sure, on Ben Napper's radar. I'm getting notifications through, and Norwich are about to take a corner. So I wonder what's going to happen. Let's have a look. Oh, it's there. Norwich take the lead. These corners. There you go. Leicester are 1-0 down. I can't hear many boos, but there are a few. I mean, it is abysmal defending from the corner, I have to say. Gabby Sarah, the corner has been hit low to the near post. Gabby Sarah has basically walked in while all the Leicester defenders are basically going the other way, inexplicably, because that's not where the ball is going. I'm going to have another look at this. Dewsbury Hall is closest to Gibson, who's at the near post. He runs him in. Oh, it's brilliant. It's a brilliantly worked set piece. I mean, Gibson just moves Dewsbury Hall out of the way of the near post. Gabby Sarah, who starts outside the 6-yard box, then just runs in. Leicester got no players on either post. Keeper's exposed, and Sarah's basically got a first-time effort with his left foot from 2 yards out at the near post. Brilliantly worked set piece. They are, and I saw from the Plymouth game how creative they can be with these, and it's a recurring theme at times, but that is just a brilliantly worked goal. Norwich are really good at set pieces. And there you go. I said it. Gabby Sarah basically hasn't done anything in the first 20 minutes. And we have a goal. That was exciting, wasn't it? Oh, I'm going to get addicted to watch-alongs. I can't just do Norwich watch-alongs, obviously, but that is horrible for Leicester, by the way, because their season's imploding as it is. They were on for a record championship points haul. I cannot understand. Well, I can, and we could pick it apart, but it's just remarkable what's happened to them since. And one thing I've learned there is that I'm going to know Norwich or Leicester have scored long before there's an actual goal. That's a lovely ball through from Sargent. Signs coming inside, clear. Might have been offside. It was tight, but keeper comes out and smothers it before Sainz managed to get a shot off on goal. Hermansen did really well there, but these are, I mean, if Norwich get a second here, then obviously it makes it incredibly difficult for Leicester. And Norwich look very hungry. Leicester needs some composure. You can hear the home fans trying to get behind them. But there we go. Let's catch up. Well, hang on. Look at my ticker. My ticker's wrong. Sort my ticker out. Do I have to take it off to update it? I don't know if I do. Yes, I think I do. And the official word on that goal, it was Sarah. Gabby Sarah scored the goal. That goal was officially. I get to pretend I'm like an announcer. That goal by Gabrielle Sarah was officially timed at 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Yes. There we go. Bing. Oh, doesn't it look good? I'll add the other games that are on the way tonight, because as I said, it's a huge championship game. I am working today, but I'm gonna have gaps, so might pop in during the Leeds game, although that might be tricky. Likewise with Ipswich, but I'll be here for this one. So, let's have a look. Yelski, Alan Russell masterclass. Yes, maybe he taught Andy Hughes everything he picked up. Borja Sainz is definitely 2 yards offside there, so that wouldn't have counted. Oh, in fact, the flag went up. I've only just noticed that. Let's get in. Linus is here. G'day, Linus. Goal. That's what we needed to say. Oh, Alex, you're very kind. I'm not sure if that's true, but I'll take the compliment. Thank you so much. Yes, Simon, I've updated the ticker. Matt Brody's back with his Australian update. This is good. Yeah, a little country town near the border of Victoria and New South Wales. Matt, it sounds delicious. I'm also assuming maybe you don't have an AFL team, and that's fine too. Let me add in those. Well, it's so you haven't missed too much in the last best passages of play. Leicester trying to get forward. No foul given on Sam McCallum there on Fatawu. Looked like he may well have fouled him there. The decent ball in, but Dewsbury Hall can't get a shot on goal. And Norwich clear. McCallum still down. It looked like a foul to me. That home fans aren't happy, so they've obviously assumed McCallum was trying to buy that. He's finally back on his feet, but it's okay because Gunn claims the cross. And again, 24 minutes in, Angus hasn't had too much to deal with. McCallum's still feeling the effects of that challenge. Not sure what it was, but I think Sam McCallum's also out of contract, isn't he, in the summer? I mean, I think he's proving worth another deal. But the problem is when you get to this stage as a player, you might not want to stay. You might have better options on the table. So, yeah, so far so good. What this is great. Oh, what are you doing though? Leicester very good at sitting on you and pressing you high so you don't get a free run playing out from the back, and Norwich have to maintain their concentration, otherwise they're going to end up doing something stupid. It's a little bit erratic, but we're all right. Keep your comments and questions coming in. Obviously, let me add in some of those moments. But possession's pretty even at the moment. Norwich are the only team to have a shot on target, and they've had 2 of them. Whereas Leicester have had 4 corners to 1. So I think Leicester, as I said, they've had the territory and the possession to a degree, but I'd say Norwich have got a decent foothold in this at the minute. I like what I just saw from Saints as well. There was a loose ball. I think he slides in to the challenge to win that ball about 2 months ago, but he put out the challenge, but then just bought his time and everything moved on. So I like that. That's a good sign of some maturity from Borja, because the last thing Norwich needs is him getting sent off for something stupid. So yeah, let's get those other games in. I am currently live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, I think. So that's good. We can just take a little chill pill for a tick. That feels like a bad thing to say. Take a little breather, deep breath. No pills involved. This is why I don't do talk-alongs. I end up talking too much. Let me add in these games, shall we? Why do I feel like this isn't the best place to be finding them? Here we go. Yep, of course it is. Later is... Oh, it is Ipswich against Southampton. Wow, that is going to be a cracking game. I hadn't actually twigged that. Which is at 5:30 p.m. Leicester on the attack here. Again, it's great. Norwich's defending has been pretty good. They've not given away many clear sights of goal, and they're pretty close. They're not giving any real space when Leicester do work into good areas. But they are continuing to press. So it's Ipswich versus Southampton at 5:30. Oh, again, it's a nice ball from Dewsbury Hall. Left-footed outswinger. I think it's Ndidi who is waiting just on the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's a bit high. He can't quite get up high enough. McCallum is under it as well, though he doesn't really challenge, and then the header just sort of goes vertically, really, and then over the bar. Thumbs up from the cross from Ndidi, but if he takes a step back and composes himself, he's got a really clear effort on sight of goal there. So, to be honest, it's pretty poor finish. So there we go. Later, Ipswich against Southampton at 5:30. Leeds v Hull at 8. I've added it to the ticker. And there it is in the ticker. It's just like Sky Sports, really, isn't it? Look at that. Looks good. This is now a watch along of me watching my ticker. I love this. What a funny thing to do. Hello, Chris. Thank you for that. What's happening on Saturday? Yes, I am. I am planning to be there, which will be interesting. It could be a huge game, although we'll see what it's like when we get back. Oh, Matt Brody has answered. Supported Hawthorn when a kid, but not my cup of tea. Fine. Good on you. Obviously, this is football, so this is actually more kicking of the ball. So, coming up to half-hour mark, game's in a bit of a stodgy spot at the minute, I would suggest. Norwich are holding their own. They look relatively comfortable. Haven't really suffered since the loss of Jakob Sørensen to injury. That was after just 10 minutes, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, 10 minutes. They've now got a free kick. It's about 35 yards from goal on the Norwich right. Dewsbury Hall's going to take it. It's sort of cleared at the second attempt from inside the box. Great play from Harry Winks. And that's a decent touch from Callum Doyle. But it's a bit of pressure here for Norwich to ride out. Oh, and that's missed by Duffy. That's a couple of times Duffy's gone for the ball and missed it. Sainz isn't going to win a foul for that. This is proper pressure finally from Leicester, but Norwich are competing well. We're saying, we're going to have, there will be these spells for Norwich to deal with. And Leicester, you can see they're trying to do it with a degree of control and calmness, and they are working the ball nicely in this spell. It's been a while. That's a good cross from Ndidi again. Duffy gets to clear, though. The ball's going to come back in a few minutes. It's really interesting. There's a lot of the fullback areas, Leicester working it so well, where they're interchanging passes and they're getting it in behind the fullbacks. I think Ndidi especially is causing Norwich a lot of trouble there behind Sam McCallum, but that's because McCallum is following one runner and then there's sort of space opening up behind. So they're working it well. And again, there's a big switch out. But Fatawa is offside, and that will give Norwich a bit of a break. Half an hour gone. We can see the goal again. They're replaying the goal again on Sky. I mean, it's one of those goals where one team knows exactly what they're doing and the other team doesn't and just doesn't react to it quickly enough. And therefore, it looks really bad. Andy Hughes given a lot of pats on the back for that one from the bench. So they loved that very much. I'm sure Andy Hughes will be telling everyone about that for the next 2 years. Cagliari, UK. Hopefully Leeds will smash Hull later on too, please. And thank you, Mr. Farker. I mean, I have to say, I'm fully convinced Norwich will finish in the top 6. I have been since they beat Sunderland at home. Scratchy 1-0 win. Perfect. And, Cov are doing well. Coventry are doing well. They do have an FA Cup semi-final that could distract them. Hull are not as good as Norwich, even though they've thrown a bit at it. And West Brom are probably catchable for Norwich. Big issue for Norwich is if they lose players to injury, but especially someone like Josh Sargent. But if everyone stays fit, then they should finish in the top 6. Very different, obviously, to suggesting they'll go up, but that's where we're at. So, yes, keep your questions and comments going in. I hope we're all enjoying this. What's not to love about Easter Monday watching the football? Have a look at some. Really interesting how see if I can share this with you. Oh, that didn't come through as quick. That's the equaliser. Almost missed that. Too busy looking at average positions on the pitch. Dewsbury Hall gets Leicester level. 34 minutes in. I didn't see it, but that's okay. I say watch along. Notice how my notifications were a lot slower with the Leicester goal than the Norwich goal. Everyone obviously far less excited. Dewsbury Hall, very focused in his celebration. Lots of pointing. Let's have a look at this then. Wout Faz with the ball half cleared. Sainz tries to break, doesn't manage it. It's a lovely work goal. It's Ndidi's cross to the far post from the right. Header back across from Mavididi, which is a really clever header. No one's close enough to Dewsbury Hall, and he can't really miss. It's a great, clever, powerful header from a few yards out. It beats the centre-back and Gunn. And that is Shane Duffy getting booked, because that is a terrible challenge on Dewsbury Hall. That is we've just conceded and I'm a bit annoyed challenge, as he's basically gone through what could only be described as Dewsbury Hall's body. And he's quite rightly booked. I think that's the first. Well, I can get rid of my average player positions because that was of limited use. I didn't quite get around to sharing it. Maybe I'll share it in a bit. I'm still figuring this all out. Oh, I need to update my ticker. I recognize the referee. I'm going to need to find his name, but that is quite rightly a yellow card for what is a shocking challenge. This is great. Not only it's his mistake, he gives the ball away, and then he just takes Dewsbury Hall out. It's like, nah. It's bad enough that I've just given the ball to you. You're not now about to run past me to cross it. And so Duffy takes him out. That is the first yellow of this game. How exciting is that? So Leicester 1, Norwich 1. The change of complexion here in the championship promotion race. It's a good opportunity free kick as well. This Dewsbury Hall on the right. The Norwich right, the Leicester left. Oh, and that's sloppy from Marcelino Nunez. And now Leicester have got possession and pressure, but of course they're doing that having just scored. And Norwich look a bit erratic, but they've somehow managed to only give away a goal, win a goal kick there rather than a corner. It looked like a corner from my viewpoint, but I'm hundreds of miles away, so I can't really tell. But goal kick relieves a bit of the pressure for Norwich. Leicester will be keen to keep the momentum up, though. 36th minute. And it is 1-1. I need to update my ticker. Norwich are doing a great job of giving away possession from their own goal kicks and playing out from the back now. It's not clever. Leicester will be loving this because this is exactly the reaction they wanted to do. Now, shall I put the Leicester goal? No, I think the Leicester goal should go after Sarah, shouldn't it? Oh, it's going to be so long. Dewsbury Hall. That's a long name, isn't it? It's not a name that is useful for tickers. But there we go. I have saved my ticker. And there it is. That makes sense? No, I don't like that. I don't like that. You're not missing much on the game anyway, other than Duffy's yellow, which was one of my favorite moments of the game so far. I need to do that. Yeah, because everyone knows Sarah plays for Norwich, right? Is that better? Answers on a postcard as to which way I should do the scores. It's really important to me, this stuff, because I'm a big pedant. That's a great run. Ball into the box. Leicester really, really pressing now. And Harry Winks arriving at the edge of the box. Side foots it straight at Angus Gunn, which is why Harry Winks is not regarded as a goal scorer. That is a great opportunity. Sargent slow to react. It's the sort of finish I'd have produced from there. I wouldn't have got there, but he needs to do much better there, Harry Winks. That should really be 2-1 to Leicester. Yeah, feedback on the ticker, please, because this is really important. Oh my lord! Hello, Joe. You're probably not still here. I don't know when you posted that, but Joe's enjoying the wonders of Leicester v Norwich. He probably isn't. He's probably doing something very important. Lovely to see you, Joe. Always. Simon, of any of the teams behind us, I'm more wary of Coventry. Oh, yeah, I think I was talking about Norwich's top six hopes, weren't I? Terrible positioning for Leicester's goal. Yeah, they still have it in them, don't they, to get themselves in a bit of muddle, and everyone was marking space, and it was very slow to react to the positions that the Leicester players were taking up. It was very passive defending, and therefore Leicester scored. Yeah, hold on till half-time. That is still another 7 minutes plus added time away. That's the only issue there, Simon. Yeah, that is also something that went into my mind. Should I put the Leicester goal scorer after Leicester? But then you're taking too long to get to. Basically, how does Sky Sports do it? They have colours. I haven't got the opportunity to have different colours. This is really important stuff now. I love this. Duffy worries you, Denise. I mean, there are things to be more worried about in life than Shane Duffy, but certainly in the context of this game, it is a worry. That's a decent ball in again there. I think from Doyle. A lot of pace on that, but Gong comes out and claims it well. Hello, Ben. Happy Easter to you, my man. I like the ticker in the order you've done it. I don't know if that is the feedback you're looking for. Well, the problem is, well, Ben, now is the ticker order in the order that it was when you posted that, or is it now in a different order? That's the tricky bit. It is a bit purple. Yeah, I can't deal with the purple, though, because that's just the way it is. Hey, Lincoln fan, Nick. Lincoln are flying, aren't they? I know that sort of without really knowing properly, but that's they are flying. So keep going, Lincoln. I like a bit of Lincoln City. Good team. Sky uses color. Well, I haven't got color, so the ticker is an issue. Can I have two tickers? This is my next thing. Would they overlap? How would it work if I had a second? Let's have a go. Let's see how this works. No, you can only have one ticket at a time. Really useful to know. See, the great thing about doing a watch along, no one cares. You just figure this stuff out as you go along, don't you? See, Nick knows. Lincoln City, 14 unbeaten, conceded 1 in 8 games. Imagine it. Imagine it. That's great work. Norwich trying to just take some of the sting out of this now and slow it down a bit. Nunez fouled in midfield, but he's all right to carry on once he sort of puffed out his cheeks. Yeah. Good battle this. I have to say, from my extensive time covering Norwich in recent years, they always performed well at Leicester. Even in the Premier League, they had a couple of games where they picked up a point, maybe should have won, even when they were getting relegated. So it's one of those grounds where they do seem to do okay, even if maybe they don't, or in recent years anyway, even if they don't necessarily win the game in the end. Right, so let's see. Ben says, "Oh, I don't know what it was before. No, one ticker only. Surely I lost an hour this weekend." Yeah. So I think if I do the scorer after the team name, you won't see the score. It will make that later. So I think it's in the right place. I think if there's a second goal, so you already can see that they're split by the semicolon in terms of one team and then the other. And, you would therefore go, oh, they're split by team because the timings are different. And I think when there's a second goal, that will be the moment it becomes really clear. Because otherwise, if it was just Sarah, then Dewsbury Hall, and you were just seeing it, you wouldn't necessarily know who took the lead. This way, you do know who took the lead. And so short of having a different color, I am happy with this ticker format. So I'm glad we sorted that out. And thank you all for your help. Simon loving Lincoln's form, which is secondary to the main issue, which is Leicester 1, Norwich City 1, 40. We're into the 43rd minute now. It's all settled down a little bit since the Leicester equaliser, and they had some real pressure after that. Norwich rode it out again. That Harry Winks chance was a big chance, but other than that, there hasn't been much since that. Leicester so good at having Norwich kind of covered when they're playing out from the back, but Norwich have done well there. They've got it forward, but they have not spent a lot of time in the Leicester half. And I might even just check that in a moment. All Simon again. Nick can't argue how he's turned things around, but having Sargent back has been a big reason in his upturn form, which I guess was an answer to this. Well, Norwich's sentiment towards Wagner. I found some audio. I was going through some of the audio I took from, I think it was not the Christmas just gone, the one before. This is a great chance, well cleared, great header clear from Duffy. That. Yeah, I found some audio from some fan interviews I did in summer 2022. Oh no, yeah, from winter 2022. It was just after Dean Smith had been sacked, and one of them started off with a lady saying, "Oh, not Wagner! No, we don't want Wagner! Oh no!" And it just made me laugh because that was the sentiment that David Wagner arrived with, and probably underlines why people haven't really ever had full confidence in him since the early spate of wins and points that came when he first arrived. Norwich in the Leicester half with the ball. Sainz runs onto it, comes central. It's his one shot that he likes doing. that bender with the right foot towards the far corner. But that's quite, I mean, that's basically from 30 yards and quite easily deflected wide for a Norwich corner, which I think is probably only their second corner of the game. Leicester already have 5. I haven't opened these yet, by the way, so it's obviously been a good it's been a good hour. So there we go. Semicolons, yes, that's me just being lazy with my language. They are clearly semicolons. So there we go. 3 added minutes, and I'm saying that with half a minute before it's announced on the telly. So thank you, Norwich City, for the tweet. Corner comes in, Sargent heads over, never going to score like that, and that is that. It's interesting, isn't it? Nick chiming in, Wagner, a really good Championship manager, not sure he can make Norwich a Premier League mainstay. I'm not sure anyone can make Norwich a Premier League mainstay, to be honest. I mean, what is that and how do you do it? I think this season with the 3 promoted teams has shown it's difficult, and as good as this Leicester team is, they will still need a huge amount of work if they go up this year to make it into a Premier League team. It's just how it works. I mean, you think about how Forest managed it by spending a shed load of money. That is great work from Mavididi to the far post. They're calling for handball again on the block. Gibson's too busy high-fiving everyone for how good his block was. Dewsbury Hall reckons it should be 2 penalties. I mean, it's not, because the first one wasn't a penalty. That, I'd need to see it again. It's Fatawu at the, and then Ndidi, sorry. Again, his arms, it hits his arms, but they're tucked into his chest. So he does have arms. You can't literally lose your arms. So I don't think you can give it, but and I don't think VAR would give either, because none of the arms have been outstretched or above the head. They're the kind of real danger zones. But who knows what the actual handball rules are. So onwards we go into added time. We've got 2 minutes of added time still to come. It's Leicester camped on the edge of Norwich's box. McCallum's header is poor. It's decent work from Fatawu, but that is he's falling backwards and he's sort of slashed the ball well over. Big fan favorite, Fatawu. The fans love him. I mean, he's done so well to take the shot so early. There's almost like no backlift. He takes the touch, and then as he's falling, shifts it out and then gets the shot away so quickly afterwards, but he just can't keep it down, and it flies over the bar, and it is 1-1 Norwich goal kick. They're going to show a replay of the handball again. I mean, to be honest, that is, yeah. I might go back on that. That one could have been. I don't think the first one was, but I think that one could have been given. I don't think his arms are out, but they block the cross. So do you then have a duty to keep your arms out of the way of the ball is the question there. And VAR in slow motion sometimes suggests that you do. So Norwich may be a bit lucky there. But there we go. Keep your questions and comments coming in. Nick. Yeah, so the plan is I wanted to do this game. I might pop in during the Ipswich game and the Leeds game, but I am working on other stuff, so I'm trying to sort of shift it between what's going on, really. So we will see, but I'd like to try to. Maybe if we get to important bits during the other games, we'll see. That is the halftime whistle. That's exciting. There's applause around the King Power, so that's good. They're not booing. They'll probably feel that they can go on and win this, Leicester. And given the possession and the territory and the way they were starting to create chances later in that half, I would say that that's a more likely outcome. Norwich are probably hanging on a bit, and they'll try to offer a continued threat on the counter and from set pieces, which is how they got their lead. And obviously, it helps that they were 1-up because the dynamic of the game from that point on makes it much easier. If Leicester get a second, it will become very difficult. But so far, so good. So I'm going to update. Let's update my ticker. Probably my favorite thing to do today. Rather than latest, I'm going to put down halftime. Halftime on the ticker. Look at that. This is love. I'm enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Absolutely. I mean, we get to watch. I don't often, to be honest, I don't often just get to watch Norwich play. So this is nice in itself. And all is going swimmingly well. So thank you for joining me first and foremost. So, maybe we'll do these more again and do stuff like that. But obviously, meantime, ask me questions. Ask me questions. I shall tell you no lies. But if we did want to have a quick, let me just see if I can try and share. I was trying earlier to share with you some stuff and didn't quite manage it off of Sofa Score. So let's see if I can do that. We'll see if we can manage that. But it might not be possible. Let's see. La lune es moon. Oh no, I'm singing along to adverts. That's not a good thing, is it? Let's turn that down. But that would not be a good thing to do. Let me see if I can make this work. He says, talking, very loudly into the mic there. No one needed that, did they? Nick, thanks for the question. I'm going to just take that down now. But yes, hopefully more streams to come. Let's see if I can make this work. Hopefully the quality of the stream is good. I've worked on the that to try and make that better. There we go. There's Sofa Score. So now we can see a bit about. Maybe I could. What if I do that? Which looks better? No. Does that look good? Not really. That's too big, isn't it? Maybe if I could swap them around. No. All right, let's go with that. That's in the middle. We don't want to do a live stream. So if we just look through there, the details, the only booking was Shane Duffy, absolute hack on Dewsbury Hall after he'd given the ball away. You're not going to give me any of the stats. Well, that's really useful, isn't it? Here we go. So if we look at that, Leicester dominating the ball, XG quite even, which is slightly surprising given some of the second half, the chances Leicester created there and later on in the half. But it was 2 shots on target each. Leicester more efforts on goal. Far more corners, which sort of tells of their territory and dominance with the ball. And also winning on throw-ins. Very interesting. But only 1 save apiece, you see. Leicester with much more of the ball. And what I would like to do, let's have a look at some of these. I don't need that playing. Can you go away, please? There we go. I don't want to go in the app. Oh my gosh, go away with the ads. Is that because I'm supposed to? So we look at, there we go. You can see the average positions now. You can see how obviously it's not ideal, but you can see the space that Fatawa was getting in that first half. They were quite isolated and giving him the room to take on Sam McCallum and actually run in behind him quite a lot of the time. And Didi causing quite a fair few issues in this role as well, because he was able to come in and support Fatawu and also get into the box well. The kind of key points for me, anyway. And if we look at Norwich, Probably do have to show the substitutions there, don't we? Obviously, kind of a lowish block. They're having to repel a lot of Leicester pressure, which you can understand. Saints coming in off the left a fair bit. Not sure if a game like this, Barnes is the most useful player to play in that 10, because it would be probably better to have someone able to break quicker with him. But he's obviously doing a lot of good work in the middle there too. But I wonder if that's maybe an extra midfielder, and having Sarah in there in that central role might be better. But it's kind of been a sit and see, and in many ways, Norwich's attacking outlet is relying on Sainz and Sargent. But it was a wonderful goal, so that's grand. There we go. That worked, didn't it? Quite happy with that. I don't really like all the ads and stuff. I might have to figure something out with that. But there we go. One for another day. One for another day. But it is 1-1. I'm probably going to have a break at some point. But yeah, the first goal, we should probably go through that, shouldn't we? It's a brilliant corner routine from Norwich. Ben Gibson basically holds and drags out Dewsbury Hall, which leaves a big gap at the front post for the low ball in, and Gabby Sarah runs into that area unchallenged and side foots from a yard or two. It's a beautifully worked goal that Andy Hughes will be able to cash in on for many a year to come. And then it looks like this was the Leicester equaliser. Ndidi with a lovely ball to the back post. Mavididi then with a header back, which is clever. And Dewsbury Hall's... Let's have a look at his movement here, because Leicester have got the 3 players over at the back. They don't really deal with that properly. So Stacey gets caught with 2, and Norwich never really recover. Nunez doesn't get back quickly enough to cover that. So from the moment the cross is taken from the right, Leicester already have 2 free players at the back post. So Stacey goes as far as he can to the back to try and win the header, which he doesn't get. But because he's gone to try and meet Mavididi, that's left Dewsbury Hall free, and no midfielder has helped cover the extra man, which, when you're dealing with a crossing situation like that and you're already quite deep, kind of poor organisation to not have the men all covered off. So that's poor from that instance, I would say, from Norwich. But there we go. Let's rattle through some more of your questions. My tea is so cold, by the way. Does anyone else like drinking cold tea? That's a great question, isn't it? Let's have a look. Nick, hello, Nick. John Rowe will be a Prem player next season, regardless. Well, possibly. It will be interesting who Norwich do cash in on. Josh Sargent's doing a good job of upping his value at the moment. The Luggage says it was never a pen. That second-hand ball, never a penalty. I don't think any handball in the box is never a penalty these days. You never know. Billy Bob Baldox. I think I said that right, Billy. Will City regret letting Ida and Poeta go? I mean, I don't see them regretting Poeta. I think that's kind of done with. That just didn't work out, and probably cash in on that and let him go about his business in the Championship or elsewhere. Ida's a tricky one. I mean, if I was Adam, like, push for a move to Celtic. What a great club to play at, even though it's not probably going that well at the moment. I don't know. I like Adam. It does seem a bit of a shame, but sometimes you get to a point where a player does need to move just for a change of circumstance and to continue their development. So feels like that's kind of where they got to. But there we go. Shame, but I wish him well, and it seems to be going well for him at Celtic. Poor Bob. What a question. I don't know. And it's only a hunch. I've got a hunch that they will do something different, whether they go up or not. Because I just think they'll do that. And Ben Napper might have that plan in mind, but whether that's the right thing or not to do, I'm not sure. Difficult one. I think David's had some unfair stick. Some of it's just because his face hasn't fitted, and maybe because of the person who appointed him. Because a lot of the stuff he's been criticised for was all well known about him when he arrived, So I feel for him a bit. Because he's done a pretty good job at a club that was in transition. And you can just see from some of the angst at Leicester. It's horrible. You get relegated and you don't go up. It's a horrible situation to deal with. So I've felt for him. And some of the criticism has been quite subjective. But that might mean that it comes to an end. Norwich would have to sack him, though, because it's not like naturally his contract just ends each summer. It's a rolling year contract, as far as I understand, which means it's 12 months on it from every day. So you don't get to the end of the year and then sign on for another 12 months. But of course, if you're then not part of the plans, then the negotiations start over what the severance package looks like. But personally, I think he's probably done enough to hang around and see if he can develop a bit more. But I don't know if he's a great head coach for developing young talent. And if Norwich want to kind of pursue that angle more going forwards, then it becomes a bit of an issue. Interesting with Leicester as well. I mean, Enzo Maresca is under a bit of pressure. He kind of needs this to work out for himself as well, and he needs to find a way because this slump is not looking good. And given how things kind of unravelled at Parma for him, he doesn't really want to be suffering the same fate. So it'll be really fascinating how it rattles through for Leicester too. Yes, I am still alive. No, I am not covering Norwich at all, really. This is more just for fun. But I'll do bits and pieces as and when. But yeah, it's not part of my job, my remit now, Angus. But I'm keeping an eye on it. And I still live in Norwich. So, that's nice. Ben's back. Do you think we would beat Leicester over 2 legs in the playoff semis? It's difficult because the home leg would be... The home leg is going to be away. It's going to be first. So I think you can always fancy yourself if you've got a second leg at home because you can overturn things. But it's very hard to win a 2-leg playoff when your first leg's at home. But Norwich do have the momentum. I mean, you would say, I don't know, Leicester still look good. I mean, I still expect Leicester to go on and win this because even out of form, they look like they can create a lot. And Norwich's main chance has been a set piece that was brilliant, but it kind of like a one-off. So... No, I honestly, I think Norwich will finish in the top 6, but I don't think they will finish by going up because I think whoever they come up against in the playoffs will probably have enough to beat them over 2 legs. There, I said it. Matt, God, I have no... So they were there in 1979. I just cannot see Norwich doing it unless they get invited by the Premier League to do some sort of... Premier League Cup or Summer Series because to do it on your own back as a Championship club is expensive and kind of stupid. It's so far to go. It would knacker your pre-season. No, the managers didn't really want to go to the US, and that's actually closer, but that would tend to knock things out. I think they did with Dean Smith because he was quite up for seeing his son. So, I mean, I find it unlikely that Norwich will be back in Oz anytime soon, which is a shame. You just have to kind of try and hunt out Ian Crook. Is he still over there? Go and give him a shout. David Platts. Don't worry, guys. Leicester will give you another in the last 10 minutes, says Dave. Well, there we go. Carl doesn't want to spoil his holiday. Is that by you commenting on this that you're not going to watch it? I love Carl. He's like a parody of himself or herself. Who knows? How many of Norwich's current 11 are Premier League quality? I'm not sure any of them are. I mean, what is Premier League quality? Is Premier League quality playing in the Premier League or actually being good enough to play regularly season after season in the Premier League? Because those Burnley players are not, a lot of those are not Premier League quality, like over the longer period. And I think that will become a harder thing to kind of judge. It's a great question, though. I'd like to hear all your thoughts on that. Part of the trouble with Wagner, says Bob, is he just lacks the personality of Farke. Well, yeah. But, Farke did a lot. It's now become apparent Daniel Farke did a lot of the carrying of that regime and that vision. And, the hierarchy owed Daniel Farke a lot in those years because they just did not manage it after that. But, some people have thin skin and probably see that as a massive dig at them. Enzo is exactly the same as Rodgers' ball. And look where that got us. Well, yeah, I mean, it did get you to like a FA Cup win, European football. But yeah, sometimes it's about the players you've got as much as anything. Let's have a listen to Sky. Okay. I think it's all about the views on that second one. I mean, that angle, then it does look like it hits his forearm of the one that is tapped into his body. So if he'd have done that and it had hit his body, then it's not. So Yeah, maybe it was right. It's really hard though, because you just can't tell with VAR, because sometimes VAR would make a decision and you're like, well, that's wrong. So you just don't know. But I think both were pretty hard. Well, the first one isn't a penalty. The second one would have been very harsh if it had been given. But there we go. And I think the second half has actually started, but it hasn't started on my screen. I haven't left my chair. I feel like that's an error. I feel like I should have stepped away to stretch my legs at some point in those 15 minutes. But instead, we've been chatting away. So I might just leave the stream for 5 minutes at some point. I might need a wee. Do you want to see my T-shirt? This is great. Look. There you go. Wife got me that for Christmas. Lovely Dark Side of the Button Moon T-shirt. I'm sure you can find those online if you want one. Right, and I need to update my ticker because the second half is underway in this colossal championship game. Let's cap latest this time. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? I need a bigger gap to later. The later is merging a bit. I wonder how I could do that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I've gone with a series of dots. And I like that. This is all the good stuff, this is what it is all about. Now that might not look great, but let's try. So we're back underway. Back across to the far post. Mavadidi was free at the far post, but the ball didn't reach him. Thankfully, I think Angus Gunn did really well to get a palm on that and just to clear the danger. But it's a early fast start from Leicester, who are meaning business, clearly. So latest, Norwich drawing 1-1 at Leicester. Sarah with the opener, Dewsbury Hall with the equaliser. Later, we've got Ipswich against Southampton, followed by Leeds versus Hull. It doesn't need the second lot of dots, does it? I was just reading that out so I could check my ticker. There we go. Thank you for joining me for this. Hope you're all enjoying it. I'm loving it. What a great way to spend a day. Excellent. Well, I might crack open these in a minute. Nick Gulliver, was the hiring of Wagner an homage to Farke and hoping he would do a similar job? Yeah, I think there were elements of it, definitely. German characteristics in coaching, the schedule, which I think the players did really want. Someone who would get the fans going, which David Wagner did initially. Also, Stuart Webber had worked with him, and I think that was really a key component. And he did kind of ignore his shortcomings to still appoint him, which maybe Stuart Webber might have regretted in the end. Just to check, no changes at halftime for either side, by the way. Should have probably told you that. So it's as we were. Remember, Norwich have already made a substitution because Jakob Sørensen went off injured after 10 minutes, looked like a hamstring. And at this point of the season, if you're pulling your hamstring, that could well be you done for the rest of the season, which would be a shame. And I think he's out of contract, which means it could also be the end of his Norwich career. That would be quite a sad way for that to happen as well. My tea is done, so that's exciting. Let's have a couple of these. Ben. Angus, maybe. Prem quality, not convinced anyone else is. Sarah, he's too in and out of games. He's a wonderful player, but you have to carry him for periods. That's a great little move from Leicester. Angus comes out really well to meet it. There's a lot of room. That Norwich left has been an issue defensively all game. Vitao is a beautiful ball through. It's such good quality. Indeed, he makes the run again. That run from deep, causing Norwich problems again in that left. Such good movement. I think there was actually it might have been Ben Gibson who got a challenge in just to make it easier, and then Gunn could repel it. Corner comes in, Doyle's header, and he sort of heads it down, and then it bounces up, and it's easy for Angus Gunn. So yeah, King Power is rocking. There's they're telling them to get into them. So I think Leicester mean business in the second half. It'll be a really interesting 10-15 minute period. This, if Leicester can, make it happen for them, then I think they'll go on to win this comfortably, and then it'll be over to Ipswich and Leeds for the rest of a mouth-watering Easter Monday of EFL Championship football. I didn't finish the rest of it. Yeah, Sarah, very in and out of games, I think. You kind of still have to carry him a little bit, but you do that. That's the risk for the reward of a moment of brilliance that he delivers. Science, not yet. I would agree. Science isn't ready yet. And Sargent's an interesting one. I'd like to see him back in the... I don't see him. He doesn't miss many chances now. That's the thing. He seems pretty clinical whilst he's also strong and mobile. And if he stays fit, whether he's quite mobile and quick enough and athletic enough for the Premier League is a different point. But his finishing has improved a lot. And I wonder, it'd be nice to see him back and have another go at the Premier League. And he probably not far off that. Well, Gavin there with his Norwich City worries. I mean, you know, there has to be a realism of where Norwich are, and unless someone wants to start putting some money in, they are going to have to deal with selling players and rebuilding around it and hoping for better. That's kind of where they are, and where their cost of last season probably does kick in, and also the second Premier League relegation. You know, that knocked a lot of the momentum out of Norwich's stuffing. That's definitely not the right term. Real pressure again. Mavadidi's now getting a lot of time to use the ball. That's a wonderful back heel back into the box, but Dewsbury Hall can't make it work. And Norwich clear, but they clear with a lot of players very deep. This is wave after wave at the moment from Leicester. Yes, Button Moon, what memories? Yes, indeed. Thank you, Nick. Ticker looks great. Really clear what he said. What a lovely guy you are, Nick. Thank you. Well, this is much more effective than the first half from Leicester, but a little bit overplayed from Fatawu, I think that was. Norwich having to hold on a bit, which, as I said, if they can ride out this period, then the game will shift in dynamic again. But at the moment, Leicester are bang on top and looking dangerous. I'm not sure Ashley Barnes is working in that role at the minute, but there we go. What else have we got here? There you go. Ian Crook, Football Australia. Good man. It's a good point on Sarah, Simon, but I think that's a point. Also, I hope the stream's coming through okay still. It still seems to be. That tells me that that's a question over Sarah's ability. And whenever you're questioning where a player's best position is, it means that they're not quite there. Because ultimately, your role in a team is not purely about where you are. There's a lot more in terms of your relationships with the other players and how you're feeding off them and things like that. You know, and that is then a question on the player and maybe the coaching, not necessarily just simple fact of where they should be playing in the team sheet almost. Yeah, I would agree with you there, Linus Sam McCallum, but still relatively young. Is he 24? He was late into the game as well. But yeah, it's a fair point. And yes, indeed, regarding Sargent. Oh, this is a great chance. And Norwich causing their own troubles there. 53 minutes on. Sam McCallum looks like a very relieved man there. It's a big crossfield ball from Dewsbury Hall. McCallum's tried to, oh my gosh, he's tried to head the ball back to Gunn and hasn't quite twigged that Daka has read it. And then the ball is behind him and he sort of does nothing with it other than scoop it out for a goal kick. It's poor again because with just a bit of composure, he could take the ball down and try and beat Gunn, but instead he just clears the ball. It's a terrible mistake from McCallum, but it's a great opportunity that goes unpunished, and it is still 1-1. Yeah, good point there. But this is the kind of thing that gets me about Sargent, because to say he's coming good now is not really the point, because he was bought to play in the Premier League. He was supposed to come good in the Premier League and then be worth money, not drop down to this level and do it. Yes, Billy Bob. I mean, they're coming up against a very good side, and as good as Norwich have been, the difference between the Championship level at the top compared to the rest of the division is huge, which is kind of why I've gone from thinking Norwich might finish, probably wouldn't finish in the top half. Let's be honest. I thought they'd struggle to match 13th again this season, because I thought it was going to be quite a strong Championship. And if you look through the Championship, it's not. A lot of talking, voice getting tired, and I do have to do a podcast tonight, so maybe we won't do 3 massive long live streams. I might kill my voice, and I do actually have some voicing over to do later. But there we go. Glad you're all enjoying it. Hope you're all enjoying it. Coming up to the 56th minute, and it's still 1-1. Looks like Jamie Vardy's going to warm up. He likes scoring against Norwich. So that might be one to watch out for. Can I get some... What I wanted to find out was attacking areas. See if I can try and find some attacking areas. Average positions. Shot maps. Norwich continuing to sit pretty deep. And the gap between Saints and Sargent's now much. Sargent's starting to look a little bit isolated. What are some other areas? I'm just see if I can find it. I can't find it at the minute. It's not very helpful, is it? Handball is the shout. Leicester aren't going to get that decision by the looks of it, but it's still Leicester deep in the Norwich half. Doyle with a shot from the edge of the area. That's easily blocked by Duffy. Getting to the point now, I'd probably like to see Norwich make a change just to offer a bit of a different dynamic, because at the moment, and so far in this half, they have done very little to trouble Leicester going forwards. The longer they go on like that, then the more the pressure is going to build, I would suggest. Just a reminder about the table. Leicester victory would take them to the top of the Championship with 6 games to play, with Ipswich and Leeds both to play later, of course. Victory would put Leicester on 85 points. Ipswich are on 84. Leeds on 83. Southampton are pretty much out of it now. I reckon they're on 74, so I don't think they're going to be challenging the top 3. Norwich are, it's Coventry, Preston, Hull. After this game, we'll all have 2 games in hand on Norwich. And Norwich would be clear of them by either between 5 and 7 points. So that's pretty tight. Despite my assured nature that they will finish in the top 6, there is still a bit to go on here. Yelski says, what changes should they make? It's probably a good question. I'm sitting there going, make a change. Well, what change? It's a good point. I don't feel like Barnes is doing too much in that role, and you could possibly bring on Fastnacht to allow Sarah to maybe come into that 10 role and sit a bit deeper but break forward, and then you've got 2 quicker wingers, and that might just put a bit more pressure on Leicester's 2 fullbacks, because at the moment they are overloading both flanks quite easily, Leicester, and it's pinning Norwich back a bit. There you go. That's what I reckon. Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. Nick agrees. Fastnacht for Barnes. Has to happen. Simon's not sure. but we shall see. Oh, I have opened my Tony's, but I've not had one yet. So I'll let you decide. What are the different flavors here? It doesn't really say, so I'm just going to go in and I'll get the blue ones out of the way. So I'll tuck in on that. Hope everyone's doing well this happy Easter Monday, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the stream on YouTube. Are we still live on Twitch? I have a check. Does anyone know? I haven't done much on Twitch, so it's kind of a... Well, it seems to be. Yeah, I'm just eating my egg there. It does say I'm live. It says it's in English. Good chocolate. Obviously, I can't talk now because I'm eating Easter chocolate. Oh, I'm getting a notification. No, he's taking a long time over a goal kick. Inevitable. What are they doing? I know what's coming. Gibson tries to play it into Sainz. He loses the ball to Faz. Here's Dewsbury Hall on the edge of the area. Cuts onto his left. Plays into Mavididi. Wonderful finish. Wonderful finish. Big moment for Leicester. Mavididi punches the corner flag. And I've just about managed to eat my chocolate. Brilliantly worked goal. Leicester have done that several times already over the course of these 60 minutes so far. Sitting on Norwich at goal kicks, watching them play out, putting them under pressure, forcing a mistake. They've done it once or twice, but just not managed to get a real sight of goal. Dewsbury Hall does so well because he shows real composure. He tries to cut it onto one side to shoot, comes back, then has the presence of mind to find Mavididi, who actually still has quite a bit to do. It's just a poor ball from Gibson. He's never going to win it there. It's just a silly decision. Dewsbury Hall then finds Mavididi. He takes it past Stacey, and that's all he needs, really, because then he just gives him a yard. It's a wonderful first touch. Great piece of control then. And he side foots it the other side of Nunez, who again is a little bit slow to come out to him. And it just rolls inside the far post. I don't think Gunn's got much chance for that. It's a wonderful goal. And a very different dynamic to a game now where Norwich are now behind, as opposed to having managed to get themselves ahead earlier. So I would expect that's that. 62 minutes. If Norwich do anything but lose this game, I would now be officially surprised, because I think that's great character and quality from Leicester to go from conceding a very sloppy goal at a set piece to working in 2 goals and getting themselves ahead. And that means that Leicester, as things stand, are top of the Championship, with both Ipswich and Leeds to play, of course, later. I mean, Leicester have had total dominance in this second half. Norwich have barely left their own half. And I don't see how that dynamic changes. I don't think there's much on the bench that would really change it. Don't think it's unusual in Wagner that he hasn't changed it. But let's see if Norwich can offer a little bit more as we go. I've just noticed Borja Sainz's got green boots on. They're lovely boots. That is definitely a foul, but he's not going to give it. That's great composure. So I think at this point, Leicester will be thinking, if we can get a third, then this is done. And that will be their aim from here. So yes, there we go. I need to update the ticker, don't I? Nick loved watching Mavididi this season. Brilliant at Montpellier last season as well. Yes, absolutely. He's a quality player for sure, especially at this level. Denise, that wasn't it. Well, you were worrying about it earlier, Denise. I could tell. Oh, no, in fairness, that's not a free kick. That's a great win of the ball from Ricardo Pereira. And great stuff. Who knows, Billy? Let's not worry about the derby just yet. And a good spot. Well, maybe Anthony Iriola feels the same. Who knows? Let's hope indeed for a positive reaction from a Norwich perspective. But this is just what Leicester wanted. Norwich finally putting Leicester under a little bit of pressure, but that will be in part because Leicester have done what they needed to do now, which is get back ahead, and they'll just try and manage that situation for a few minutes. But Norwich do need to offer a little bit more here because they've been very passive in the second half and kind of got what they were asking for, in truth, in the end. Right, let's update the ticker, which will now become much more. See, it'll now come into its own. That goal from Mavididi coming on 61 minutes. Mavididi, 61. Yellow card, bit of a hack there on Sargent. That is a yellow card from Vestergaard. Slid in, didn't get the ball. Pretty straightforward, that one. Ticker up to date. We are all good, bar Norwich losing. And here come those changes. So the changes have come 4 minutes after the goal. Fashnacht and Gibbs is coming on, or are coming on, for Nunez and Ashley Barnes. And I always feel like if a change, I know the game state has now changed, but also like you could have made those changes before the goal went in. Don't wait for a goal to alter your thinking. If that, sometimes goals do obviously alter thinking, but also you could have made that change before the goal rather than waiting, and now you've made the change. But that's just me mouthing off, isn't it? So big moment for Leicester. They are, as it stands, top of the Championship. To put that in context, Leicester have had 12 shots on goal, 5 of them on target, to Norwich's 4, of which 2 have been on target. They're now well ahead on XG and continuing to dominate the ball, up to 63% possession now, Leicester. And they have utterly dominated this second half. And that's what you get, isn't it? Let's see if I can find something that exemplifies that. No, that's not it. Where are we? Let's try. Have a little look at who scored, maybe. So we got what we got left. 25 minutes left. 23 minutes left. Yeah, not easy to find. And the heat maps do not go into, you can't select the timings of the heat maps. That's quite annoying. Touches, maybe. Yeah, this will be good. Oh no! Right. I've got to make sure I'm not, sometimes I'm listening to the commentary on Sky and repeating it. Well, now Norwich have won the ball high up this time. Trying to cause some trouble. Gibbs crossed to the far post, but Wout Faes is very accomplished in defending that issue. And that is dealt with. Getting a bit stretched, the game, which Norwich will like. But here come Leicester. Mavididi, great challenge from Stacey, averts that danger. Oh, this is rubbish, isn't it? Oh my gosh, okay. Well, this might be quite rubbish, but let's see if we can show you this. There we go. This is a map of second half touches. If we just take out Leicester's. No, that doesn't do it. We take out. Well, Norwich have had a few shots. That's probably more than I expected, but you can see there's been certainly a concentration of that. There we go. No, that's better. That was the first. I thought that was the first half. There we go. That's the second half. You can see Norwich basically they've basically just not bothered with the final third in the second half. Just kind of pretty damning, really, isn't it? If we add in Leicester's there, they are obviously shooting this way. You can see again, Leicester have not been required to have the ball much in their own defensive third either. So not particularly pressing. The goal came on 61 minutes. So in fact, some of those higher touches have come in the last few moments from Norwich since they went behind, but that's obviously a bit too little too late. So there we go. There's a big advert for Coral there. Ignore that. Gamble responsibly, or if not, don't gamble at all. Anyway, hope that was in some form helpful. I should try and take a picture of it next time. That might be better to show the picture. Stacey's in the box. Oh my goodness. That's a great opportunity. I think the Norwich fans inside the King Power thought that was in. Suddenly, Jack Stacey was in the box, wriggled clear. Josh Sargent appears to be regretting that the ball wasn't fed to him. It's a long ball over the top. Stacey goes in behind Mavididi, who's on defensive responsibility. He takes a touch. It's fair. It's a decent effort. He's tried to catch him at his near post, which is very difficult. And I think the keeper probably would have had it covered. Instead, it just rolls the wrong side of the post and into the side netting, which is what would have flummoxed the visiting supporters. But a few promising moments here for Norwich. And as we know, if some Leicester fans were already worried they were going to give away a gift maybe before the game is done. So Leicester are in a wobble. This is a hugely important 20 minutes in Leicester's season. It has to be said. They need to win this game. It's certainly, I would imagine, for Norwich fans, mildly frustrating that it's taken to go behind to suddenly start causing Leicester issues, because that second half of just waiting is hugely frustrating. But there we go. The tick is all right, isn't it? Yeah, that's all grand. Let's stop sharing that. People being in touch. Bit of an inane question. This is the forum for inane questions, Nick. Do you think of the Norwich badge first season? Oh yeah. Oh, I like it now. Yeah, it's a modern. I thought at the time when they announced it, it was sensitively done. A couple of bits that jar with me a little bit, but that would have been the same with the original one. So yeah, I think it's a nice little up to date update on it. Now let's hope no one touches it for another 100 years, because that's how it should be now. Simon's opinion there, if you want to have a read of it. Leicester back on the front foot now, back in the Norwich defensive third, ball to the far post. Mavididi can't connect with the high cross. Dewsbury Hall, his cross is cleared. Probably my man of the match, I would say. Dewsbury Hall has been everywhere. He's looked like a real, just such quality on the ball and composure that some of the other players have lacked. That's really good from Liam Gibbs. He's done well to find Fastnacht. Sorry, it was Sainz. Sarah now, but his cross is cleared. But it's still a bit in the balance again now. Apart from the scoreline, obviously. Denise. Yeah, the criticism, of course, that Wagner isn't proactive, which is kind of what's happened there. And Leicester are a very good side, so can we sign Ndidi? Says the luggage. It's probably unlikely. Probably can't afford to either. Leicester threatening to counter there from a Norwich set piece, but Norwich win the ball back. Why is it taken to going behind to start managing to do these things, eh? Well, into the final 15 minutes almost. You are right. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. Been lots of fun. If you're watching on Twitch, well done. I don't think anyone is, but I'm trying. Looks like Jamie Vardy will be coming on soon, and the way the game is shaped now, and Norwich are starting to come out of their shell a bit, that's actually probably going to give Vardy a lot of rooms. It's probably quite a sensible change from Maresca if he manages to pull it off, but Leicester might get themselves ahead before that. Let's see. Norwich taking their time. Well, that's really interesting. Leicester kind of banked out of the counter and visibly allowed Norwich to then come back and defend. But from the same point, 2-1 up, Norwich aren't going to score if you've got the ball in their final third. So, we certainly shouldn't. Leicester now just resorting to popping the ball around, and Norwich just sat in a compact shape, but they're also losing. And that's why Leicester are good at, or have been good at, seeing out these games and getting themselves into good positions. Certainly earlier in the season, maybe less so recently. But there's a notable drop off in Leicester's tempo. They want to sit now. They want to sit, cross, and create. And Norwich having to sit and watch it. There we go. It'll be interesting what Ipswich and Leeds are making of this. Hope the stream quality is still good. Yes. 19 full sub. Big up Twitch stream. Thank you. Glad someone's there. The old Twitch. Spread the word. Let's get all those follows. I don't really do gaming though, so maybe it's a lost cause. Here comes Jamie Vardy then. 77th minute. Leicester 2-1 up. As you can see from the lovingly crafted ticker. Rebecca Vardy in the crowd there watching. Obviously very important that we have that shot on the coverage. It's going to be Patson Daka who makes way. Vardy gets the captain's armband, and on he comes for 14 minutes plus. Do you reckon he'll score? I do. I think he's got. I don't know what his record is like against Norwich, but I'm going to hazard a guess to say that it's pretty good. Let's see if we can have a look at who Jamie Vardy has scored his goals against. Has he scored most of his goals? We've got 11 goals in 16 games against Arsenal. He does like playing them. Norwich, he has 4 goals against in his career and 2 assists, so 6 goal involvements. That's pretty good. That's what I will say though. He's got 4 goals against Norwich, so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 teams he scored more goals against than his 4 against Norwich. But he scored those 4 goals in just 6 games. And none of those teams higher than Norwich in the table has he played that fewer games. So his 11 goals against Arsenal have come in 16 games. He's actually scored 4 in 6. 4 in 6 against Norwich. So anyway, back to the game. Gabi Sarah been a bit more involved in these last 5 minutes or so. Sainz out on the left, on his right foot. Shot is blocked. Kind of know what he's going to do there, and Leicester deal with it. Nick in the chat. I don't understand why Patson Daka is used as a lone striker. Never been good enough to do that. So, yeah, it depends what you want your lone striker to do, though, Nick. I think because I've always said the same of Tema Pukki. But if you've got someone who's got good movement and you're trying to feed them, then you really can. I wouldn't have said that Daka really had that movement and didn't really look composed enough when he was played through. But they weren't really trying to feed him through. He was almost there is the finishing point for Ndidi, Mavididi, and Dewsbury Hall. But, probably says as much that he wasn't actually involved in the first goal for Leicester. It was all sort of played around him. So, yeah. Ball through to the Leicester keeper. Norwich attack peters out. And we are entering into the final 10 minutes shortly. Yeah, exactly, Nick. They just didn't. They build up in a different way. But I guess it's so that they have that foil. Maybe Daka is just the foil so that Mavididi and Ndidi have the space to do the things they want to do. My back's starting to hurt. I might lower my seat. This should be funny. There you go. It works. I can stretch my back. Van Hooijdonk can't be very good in training. I mean, it's interesting they seem to have gone on such a development ploy with a player who is only on loan for 6 months. I assume that they are hoping to sign him permanently. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd be so patient with a player that he's got like 6 games, then he's back to Bologna. So I would imagine there's a longer term plan with that, but does seem quite clear that Wagner doesn't see him in a position where he's competing for minutes properly because he's nowhere near it. I've not seen him enough, so I can't really commentate or comment on that properly or informedly. But we've seen the stats, and those are the stats. He's not played a lot of football. Into the last 10 minutes, then. The attacking momentum, quite interesting here. Let's see if we can take an image of that. Oh, I should just do that, shouldn't I? That's a good idea. Let's share that. That's one way of doing it. I should do that more. Here's the attacking momentum of the game from SofaScore. I think that quite clearly shows how the game has gone. I remember talking about Norwich possibly trying to get a second goal. I mean, they didn't do much before their goal, which came from a set piece. And that altered the dynamic of the game greatly for the next 5 minutes or so. But since then, the second half, Leicester got their goal. They ran the rest of the first half, and then the second half, they have literally been solely in Norwich's half for the majority of it. Norwich have brought a little bit more equilibrium since the minutes after Leicester took the lead. But again, Leicester seem to be visibly in a game management kind of a role here, and they'll be perfectly happy with this the longer it carries on. So we shall see. Right, there we go. That was interesting, wasn't it? So yes, just a reminder, you can see from the ticker, reminder that we have got loads of 3 p.m. kickoffs as well. I will be gone for those. I will be dipping off quite straightforward after this, after the game. I might try and hang around for some of the post-match quotes, because this is what I would do if I was covering the game for The Athletic, which I now do for a lot of the Premier League games, live coverage for the big ones. So I was watching Manchester City Arsenal yesterday and helping with the live coverage of that on The Athletic. I mean, it was an intriguing game, but dear me, it was not an entertaining one. This has been much more fun. Another long ball, but that will go out for a goal kick from Dewsbury Hall. I think that was again Angus Gunn with the goal kick. Leicester really keeping Norwich at arm's length now. But yeah, so it's, I hang on for the quotes, like to hear what people are saying. I'll comment on some of those if you want, but then we'll wrap it up for the time. Hang on, seat up. Better. Lunchtime, innit? Got to have some lunch. And then, I might pop on during the other games. This has gone quite well. I've enjoyed it. I won't do the full 90 minutes. But I'll tease something up maybe for the latter stages of the Ipswich game, and then maybe for the latter stages of the Leeds game as well, although I've got plenty of work to do in between all that. But it's a big day of Championship football. This is Easter Monday, Championship football. This is when things get real. Not decided, clearly, but real. And of course, from a Norwich perspective, the 3 p.m. kickoffs will affect, or might affect, Norwich's position and security in the top 6. Few opportunities for Jamie Vardy so far. Not really had much of a look in, and that cross has just drifted behind. It's going to be another double change here for Leicester as they continue to manage their lead. Chowdhury's coming on. Ricardo Pereira's going off. And indeed, he's also making way. Dennis Pratt is coming on. So they are the finishers for this Leicester team, I would imagine. And they will be expecting to see this out now. We're almost done. Any more questions you want to get in for me while we wrap this up? You're more than welcome. Thank you for joining me. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed it more than I thought. It hasn't taken much, has it? We've got a beautiful ticker there. Look, resplendent in purple. And my face. What more do you want? The odd bit of sharing. Let me share some of the stats, shall we? I quite like this because then you get to sort of see something. It doesn't need a lot, does it? Maybe I'm just easily. Maybe that doesn't look very good, actually. Again, all brought to you by SofaScore. Thanks for letting me use your internet, your website. It's very good. Games rather petering out. There you go. Look, there's the teams. Oh, look, and I can just. Oh, that's clever. You see, it moves the video so that they still get the ad in. That's quite clever, and they're not letting me cut it out. Interesting there. Look at that. That the Norwich starting 11. Average age of 27, over 27 years old. It's not young. He does not like young starting 11s, David Wagner. Leicester's is significantly younger. Not really young. They'll be younger than that in the Championship, but that's pretty young in comparison. So we're into the 87th minute. Norwich are not creating anything. Leicester are just seeing this out now. I think they've got enough threat on the counter to keep Norwich honest and not commit too many people forward, but it's meaning they're not creating anything. Leicester are looking extremely comfortable. They're continually winning the ball in midfield, and they're happy to see it out. Is that Mavadidi's gone down with a big roar? He was not happy about that challenge, but he's back on his feet now, and he didn't get the free kick, so I'm sure he's fine. So yeah, it's as kind of expected. Oh no, that's not what it should be on. It was supposed to be on that. Sorry. There you go. Yeah, that Leicester team's 25.9 years, almost 26, just under 26. That's quite interesting, I think. So there we go. Fatawu again, getting played in. I think he's been excellent. I like him a lot. Chowdhury side foots one well over the bar, but that will suck up a few more minutes. Leicester edging closer to a big 3 points. Norwich will just have to pick up the pieces of this in their next game, which is, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, the derby. Oh, what a game that's going to be at Carrow Road for both Norwich and Ipswich. Another double change. Sucking up the minutes. Who are Leicester bringing on now? Let's get rid of that now. We don't need to stop screen. There we go. So another double change for Leicester. James Justin is coming on. So is Atgun. And it's Fatawu and Mavididi coming off, who were both excellent, and are kind of underlining why Leicester should really be going up this year. But it's going to be very interesting who out of Leicester, Ipswich, and Leeds doesn't make it. It's going to be so much fun to find out over the coming few weeks. Into the 89th minute, then. That's why you make double substitutions, to just whittle away the time. Leicester continuing to be in control. Sergeant done for backing in there on Vestergaard. That looks a bit harsh, and a little bit lucky there, Leicester, because I think Fatanakta kind of ran through the open space behind him with the ball. I mean, he is backing him, but I mean, Vestergaard's got him. I don't know how you give that free kick either way, to be honest, but there we go. Sort of thing you can do as a referee once you get to the 89th minute. What other messages? Thank you for all your messages. I hope you've enjoyed this. By all accounts, people have, so that's great. It's really lovely to hear. Nick, Arsenal a striker away from the Premier League title. I don't know. I mean, Havertz has done a very good job there, and I thought Arsenal did pretty well last night. Not many teams have stopped Manchester City scoring. But then maybe if they'd had someone slightly more prolific up top, they might have just nicked it. You're right. But they did what they needed to do, I would say. I'm glad you really enjoyed it, Denise. And yes, the derby will be very interesting on next weekend. We'll see what we get for today as well. Yeah. It was amazing how Norwich just really tried to manage it and it just didn't work. Now, Sarah's tried to play in Sargent. It's just too far ahead of him. There are a few gaps. Leicester will want to be a little bit careful they don't do anything stupid over the remaining few minutes. There are 5 added minutes, which have already started. But at this point, I'm conscious that you guys are probably ahead of me if you're watching this live on the telly. So my live clock has it. We're already in the 2nd minute of added time, and I might well get a full time up on there before I get it on my screen. But that's okay. We can work around all that. Matt Brody. As long as the stream's not going in and out of quality, I don't mind. But I imagine you're ready for sleep. So go to sleep. You don't need to stay up anymore, he says. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Appreciate it, especially all the way from the delights of Victoria. In Australia. And yes, the luggage. I didn't think that was a great decision because it was just out of kilter. He didn't need to blow. It wasn't one way or the other. But it's not going to define this game, I do not think. Probably the longest stream I've done. We're on an hour and 53 minutes. So that's fair chunk, isn't it? Now, Nick, you're off to see Carlisle versus Lincoln. That's awesome. Enjoy that one. If you're watching in person live or on the web to net. Enjoy it. Vardy almost in. Great sliding interception from Ben Gibson. Does a great job there. Oh, that's not my camera, is it? Oh, it doesn't matter. I need to rise. There we go. I'm already looking forward to my next cup of tea and a bit of lunch. Got to be honest here, but I've really enjoyed this game. This has been really fun format. I've really enjoyed it, and I will do more. And yeah, that is Ben Gibson hoiking out the ball. James Justin has a look, an expression of someone who knows they've done the right thing there. They've just sucked up some time, won a corner. Everything's great in the world. Great player, James Justin. I like him a lot. It's a shame that injuries kind of got in his way recently. But get it on iFollow. Great work, Nick. I have been to Carlisle a few times, not for a while. But there we go. I've had a notification. Let's see what we get. It's a corner. Dewsbury Hall trying to suck up time. How have they scored a goal from trying to suck up time in Norwich's own the corner flag? But there we go. Let's wait for this to happen. It's kind of funny knowing the impending news. There we go. Ball in the box. Wink side foot. It's blocked. He's dribbling. It's blocked. And there he is. Jamie Vardy, free at the far post. One touch. Bang. He gets his goal. As we all know, his 5th goal in 7 games against Norwich, which probably, have I still got the tab? I've closed the tab. We'll get it back open again. Jamie Vardy scores against Norwich. Thank you. I called that. And that is 3-1. And that is an excellent response from Leicester against a informed team that were there to make life difficult and also took the lead in the first half. So all in all, there are a lot of positives that Leicester can take from this at a time when they need them. It's a throw in. James Justin, he turns. It then falls to Pratt. Harry Winks has a shot that's half blocked. Winks is then allowed to sort of dribble through. It's pretty poor defending. And McCallum goes back onto the goal line, which leaves Vardy free a few yards from goal. Had McCallum been on, he's not that close to him in fairness, but he can't block it on the line. Vardy doesn't miss that. And 3-1, which I think probably on the balance of play and chances, especially in the second half when Norwich have been so secondary and passive, whilst they were ahead, crucially, that was the big one. Job done. I would say that's about right. And Leicester back on track. And just to put, so that means, just from a Jamie Vardy point of view, 5 goals. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Only 14 clubs Jamie Vardy has scored more goals against. But all of those teams he's played more than 10 times. Or at least 10 times, whereas this is only the 7th time he's played Norwich. Man, that is 5 goals in 7 games. And there we go. I feel like the full-time whistle has gone, but it hasn't gone on my stream. So it's just like waiting for it now. And we'll wait for some post-match reaction. But that is it. So let's update the ticker, because I'm happy to say that had to be Vardy. I hope you appreciate the fantastic insight I've given, that I actually called Jamie Vardy's calling. Yes, I'm gonna suck up on that one. Yes, Ipswich are no longer top. That is very true, Ben. All Norwich fans will enjoy that one. The only issue is they do now play at 5:30. There goes the final whistle as I'm watching. Wagner, Maresca, nice little pat on the back. Both smiling. Wagner very aware there's a camera. So he opts to smile. Maresca looks like a man who needed that very much. The Leicester players themselves, more sort of relieved fist pumps than any. There's not many smiles. No one looks particularly happy, but they are clearly happy. Oh, there we are. Mavadidi's got a little smile out there. Vardy has a big smile. They are delighted with that. The sun is out in Leicester, which is nice. That is Leicester back top of the Championship. You can find some of the details of that on The Athletic. So go check those out now. We might touch on the Championship in the Daily Football Briefing podcast as well. You should grab that later. But yes, quite frankly, Norwich took the lead through an excellent set piece. They looked like they could cause Leicester some real issues given their recent problems. But Leicester responded and they did the job. I'm just updating the ticker, of course. Leicester responded and they finished the job pretty comfortably in the end. Norwich will have easier games and different battles to take on, of course. But for Leicester, that is great. How were Norwich so abject? I just think they went passive. They were ahead, or they were level at halftime, weren't they? And they just sort of tried to protect what they had rather than... Or they didn't try. They didn't try to do that. They were just forced into it by Leicester, which is also a possibility because Leicester really, really needed that. And sometimes that's just the way it is, Billy, I'm afraid. But there we go. The ticker is up to date. As you can see, it has finished Leicester 3, Norwich City 1. And if we look at this, there you go. That was the attacking momentum from the game. And I think that, in truth, kind of paints the picture pretty well. Leicester had the most of it before Norwich took the lead, which came from a set piece. It was a brilliant set piece worked by Gabi Sarah. They then had some really good moments and, would have hoped they could have made it 2-0. But they couldn't. And from that point on, Leicester managed to work their way back. They had some good opportunities and then they scored. They then dominated the second half and really their 2 goals over the second 45 minutes. I think few people could argue with. If I can maybe find the top of the Championship somewhere. There's the top of the Championship as it now looks. You can't see Norwich, which is a bit of an annoyance. Let's get rid of that. There we go. That helps. So there. Now, if we look at that again, thank you very much, SofaScore. Hull play Leeds later, so that's a really interesting game. Coventry also playing at 3:00, I think. Huge for Leicester because that is now Leicester back top of the Championship, a point clear of Ipswich. But surely they've played a game more. Have Leicester not played 40 games? Is that right? I don't know. I thought that was Leicester having played. Maybe Leicester. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Apologies if I'm wrong there. Please do correct me. But according to that table, that means that Leicester are top, but they are on the same games played. Ipswich a point behind. Leeds a further point behind. And it's a proper fascinating title race in the Championship, as it is in the Premier League, which is wonderful stuff. So there we go. No real debate there over the stats. I think if we just rattle through those at the final game, massive advantage from Leicester on the expected goals. They dominated the ball. They dominated efforts on goal as well. Norwich didn't. I don't think they had a shot on target in the second half, is what that probably tells me. Oh, one. No shots on target in the second half. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall's just said that was a cup final. So just 7 more cup finals to go. There's a Brian's Gun video in that. I've seen it. Dominated the ball, dominated shots, efforts on goal, corners. 18 goal kicks. I mean, that shows again the dominance as well. 11 shots inside the penalty area, so the quality of the chances Leicester created were excellent. Not the best afternoon for Angus Gunn in terms of goals prevented, which sort of comes down to him. And possession lost I like as well, but Leicester had so much of the ball you'd expect them to have lost more possession as well. Norwich really strong in the air, but not strong enough everywhere else. How much are we going to get for Sarah, and where's he going to end up? I don't know. Depends where's got the money. But I don't necessarily see him in the Premier League. I think he could end up in the top flight in Europe. I thought it was interesting he got linked with teams in Italy. I could see him being anywhere. Just listening to Dewsbury Hall mentioning how Leicester have been snatching at chances, really good chances in recent games. And so they needed that composed finish from Mavididi at the start of the second half, which you could tell actually from the first half with Leicester that they were scratching around a bit and looked like they were stretching and well, not trying too hard, but snatching at what they were getting. So yeah. Listening a bit more, but they're all happy, I think, and it's great for Leicester that they're in a position now where they can kick on. I honestly thought that was Leicester's 40th game, so I hadn't really appreciated that they still had a game. But Dewsbury Hall gets the Sky Bet Man of the match, so they agreed with me. Maybe they were listening. I know they weren't. But Mavididi handed over the award, and his goal was a big moment in the match because honestly, as soon as Leicester got ahead, that really did feel like that was it. So Leicester have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've got 7 games left. So I that's my lack of knowledge, lack of research there initially. I apologize, but it is interesting that I'm just going to shut my door. Yes, that's interesting that at this point there is a chance a small child could come into the stream. It is mine. They are mine, so that's fine. But we don't really want that to happen. So interestingly, Leicester are top by a point, but they have played the same number of games. So it does kind of put it on Leicester and on Ipswich and Leeds to go and get a win when they play later today. It's not quite like they're all playing. So excellent stuff. I'm just going to hang on because I want to hear the two managers. But if there's any more questions, then get them in. But thank you for joining me in this. It's been loads of fun, really. We'll see if we do another one at some point. But I'm sure we will. We can do this whenever, can't we? But that's a really great response from Leicester. I thought the way They stuck to how they wanted to do. They always looked in control of the dynamic of the game. They were always really happy with what they were doing and how they were going about it. It was very impressive. And credit to Norwich for the quality of their first goal. They're just replaying the goals now. It's a brilliant set piece. It makes Leicester look stupid in terms of their defensive setup. But the way Ben Gibson wanders in, pulls Dewsbury Hall out of it. I mean, it is quite an obvious blocking move. I mean, it would be interesting if that happened in the Premier League, whether the Premier League and VAR would say you can't literally hold someone. It's like an NFL block, really. You can't do that. But I mean, it just completely opened the space up for Sarah to move into the near post, and it looks really bad from Leicester's point of view. But it's a really, really clever little move. It's just brilliantly executed and worked. So, really clever, really, really clever. So, kudos to Andy Hughes for sorting that one out. And that was really as good as it got for Norwich, because if you analyze it now with hindsight, they had a little spell after the goal where they had a couple of moments and opportunities without really testing Leicester's line properly. And then after that, Leicester went up a gear, equalised, and then that was it, really. And okay, so this is the equaliser from Leicester. Faz's initial cross is cut out. It then yes, it's Ndidi's ball is there, and they rush back, but they don't really deal with the men. So they're just not organised. You can see Duffy's trying to hand off Daka, but they don't really deal with that. And they've all sort of shuffled too far across almost. So Stacey ends up with 2v1 and doesn't win the ball. And because Mavididi is then able to head the ball back across, no other Norwich defender or midfielder, because Nunez is closer, managed to get close enough to affect Dewsbury Hall. So it's a nice, well-worked move, but it's pretty sloppy defending, really, in terms of how they dealt with that. And from that point on, you kind of like, Norwich really needed to eke it out for longer, but really poor playing out from Norwich. Gibson's ball, if you're trying to play out from the back, you need to play the ball into players who are free. If you're playing it into someone who has got someone bearing down their neck, it's just a really poor choice of pass. That then obviously gives Leicester the opportunity, the numbers. Norwich are again in that position where they're rushing back and panicking almost to react, very reactive defending. Mavididi does so well on his first touch just to take Stacey out of the ball, and then the composure to pick that finish. It sort of goes just on the outside of Nunez and then on the inside, I think, of Gibson. It doesn't really, he touches it slightly, but I don't think it affects the trajectory of the ball. It's a really composed, high quality finish. That is the sort of finish that the top championship teams can produce. I don't think you'd see that in most of the rest of the division. So now they're replaying Jack Stacey's. I mean, it's not much of a chance, but I mean, they're questioning whether he could have played Sargent in, but he's got. I don't think Vestergaard is literally between the possible ball to Sargent, so I don't think the ball to Sargent is necessarily on. It's trickier. Vestergaard probably cuts it out, so I don't really think there was much issue in what Stacey tried to do. It just needs to try and hit the target, I suppose, and I don't think he beats Hermansen from there. And then Leicester sealed the deal. Again, it's sort of bobbling around in Norwich's box. Everyone's trying to react to it. They don't cut the ball out as it crosses. I think, is it Pratt who tries to get the ball across? And oh no, it's Winks, isn't it? And then it falls to Jamie Vardy, brilliant. He just waits at the far post and the ball comes to him. And how many times has he done that? Well, 5 times in 7 games against Norwich. That's how many times. So ultimately, that's a decent performance from Norwich against a team that's better than them. And I think that's proven. But such a missed opportunity in terms of how passive Norwich were after half time. And that is a criticism that has been there of Wagner for a long time. And to be honest, he arrived at Norwich with that criticism. So it's not a surprise. That's just how he coaches these games. So it's a shame. And they are probably the reasons why he may not be in charge next season. We shall see for Norwich. Maresca may well still be in charge of Leicester, though. That's a huge, huge win for them. It's really hard to emphasize just how big that is. So yes, are Southampton still in this? So Sky have got a table saying it's still 4. I mean, though they've got an extra game in hand, that is true. And if they win their 2 games in hand, then they would be on 80 points. Yeah, right on the fringes, aren't they? Right on the fringes of it. So they've got 2 games, but they've still got to play Ipswich and Leicester and Leeds, Southampton. They've got to play all 3 of them. All 3 of them away from home. Ipswich, so Southampton have got to play Ipswich, Leicester and Leeds away from home. Leeds obviously got Southampton at home. The rest of that run-in looks ultimately winnable. Ipswich have got Southampton at home coming up obviously later, but the rest of that run-in, bar the trip to Carrow Road, looks ultimately very winnable too. Leicester, they've got that visit from Southampton, but again, so Southampton have got it in their hands because effectively they play the 3 teams above them, all away from home, but then they've also got 2 games in hand. So if is it in Southampton's hands? I guess, yeah. If they beat the 3 teams and then if they win all their games from here, Southampton probably do go up. So there we go. Obviously now I'm a bit worried about Norwich because I did think they should finish in the top 6, but if they have played 40, Coventry, Preston, Hull have, as we now stand, all got 2 games in hand on Norwich. They start in about 20 minutes time. And they're all capable of finishing above Norwich from this point on, but I have to say, Norwich really should still finish in the top 6. They have to play. Do they have to play? They don't. They've got to play Preston. They've got to go to Preston in a couple of games' time, so that becomes a really big game against them. Ultimately, Norwich are not as good as the top teams in this division, so even though they've been in good form, that hasn't necessarily surprised me today. I think that's exactly what I would have expected from Norwich. But that's obviously different to them playing against teams in and around them and below them in the table. We're almost done. Let's just have a little listen in. Thank you, Billy. That's lovely. Yes, Thomas, I agree. Show you the table. Wow. They cut him off pretty quickly there, Enzo Maresca. But essentially, he's very happy. And they deserve to win. Enzo Maresca, a happy bunny, which is great for them. That is the table then, as I was just talking about earlier. As I said, it's really interesting because Southampton have 2 games in hand on the top 3. Win them both, they're on 80 points, and then they play each of the top 3, admittedly all away from home, but win those 3 as well, and they are in a serious chance of finishing in the top 2. So maybe it is 4, and I've been too early to discount them. And if you just look at that battle below for the top 6, there's Norwich, 40 games played and 64 points, but Coventry, Preston, and Hull all have 2 games in hand. As I said, a game of those is just about to kick off. But they are all within striking distance of Norwich. So maybe there's a bit more to play for than I had initially seen. But I would say it's basically now those 4 teams for the top 6. West Brom should be okay. It would take a lot for West Brom to get caught from here, I think. And then 4 for the top 2. So maybe we're just where we were anyway. There we go. Excellent. That's all exciting. Let me see if I can find the games for you that are about to take place. Let's do that now. There they are. Oh, there they were. There we go. If you can see those, zoom in a bit. There we go. We've already had. Thank you again to SofaScore for all their wonderful website work. Give it a look, sofascore.com. So, yeah, as you can see, Leicester beating Norwich 3-1. Birmingham v Preston. So, Preston head to Birmingham. Coventry host Cardiff. Middlesbrough host Sheffield Wednesday. Plymouth against Bristol City. Rotherham take on Millwall. Stoke Huddersfield. Sunderland Blackburn. Swansea QPR. And West Brom Watford. So, there's quite a lot to follow and keep an eye on there in terms of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. And then we get into the 2 evening games. Ipswich hosting Southampton. And then Leeds against Hull at 8 o'clock. And that is our football in the Championship on a Great Easter Monday. My plan from here is a great question. I think I might do another short live stream come maybe the second half of the Ipswich Southampton game. We'll see how that's going. I'll be following that. And then we might do one during Leeds v Hull and see how they both go. We'll see. That's a plan. I will do more than one. I will do another stream at some point, and I might do 2 more because this is a fascinating Championship place. It's Easter Monday. I've got the room to do it. And also I'm playing. This is the first time I've done a live watch-along stream thing. And I think we can all agree it was a raging success. I'm kind of hanging on to see if Sky's coverage is going to include any post-match reaction with David Wagner. I do, however, also feel it's highly likely that it won't, and they are already wrapping up into the rest of the football that is going to be kicking off at 3 p.m. Because what I've noticed from TV coverage is they move on incredibly quickly. No one wants to hang around. But yes, thank you for watching. If there's anything you want me to do social media wise on my channels or video forms, I'm open to all the ideas. I've got loads of ideas. I want to do regular stuff on the channel, which is these channels, which are obviously not going to be Norwich centric anymore. And I think that's obviously clear, but there's so much football on and other sports that I take an interest in. I do actually want to do some AFL stuff, which is Australian rules football. I'm new to it. Can you imagine being a 43-year-old man or woman and suddenly discovering a new sport when you thought you knew all the sports and there was a new one and you found it and you just sort of found it the most exciting thing ever. So I might do some stuff with that, but I'll have to come from an absolute angle of not knowing anything about it. But maybe then you guys can come along with me for that journey, and also some people who do actually know about the sport can help educate me further along in the ways of Aussie rules football. I'm waiting for Sky to finish up their inane advertising break, so we may well be done. But here's a good one, because my wonderful main man Steve Sanders is tweeting his stats work, and this will obviously deserve some love, public love. Still not entirely sure we're going to get any more from Sky, but let's see. But in the meantime, I want to try and do these. Oh, good old Steve Sanders. Let's see if we can get this. Well, they're going on to Stoke team news, so they are looking at a different game, I think. But here is a thing from Steve Sanders, aka CFC Numbers. Give him a follow on Twitter, because not only is he one of the nicest people in football, he's in football, obviously. He's very good with stats. And as he says here, Norwich City's record in their last 3 championship seasons against sides relegated from the Premier League: played 14, 1-0, drawn 2, lost 12, which is obviously horrible. And again, kind of emphasizes where Norwich are at. And I think people probably need to adjust. It's nice to think that they were going well, but you do have to adjust to where Norwich's level is at. I think that does say a lot. Great work, Steve. As always, there's someone who knows what he's doing. And as I was looking for that, I just noticed this from my former colleague and former colleagues, which I'm guessing was from today. I'm just trying to double check. No, it's not. No, that doesn't work. Peter Raven, because Norwich beat Plymouth. So we're listening to Steven Schumacher at the moment. That's not much use, is it? I mean, I could, if I had nothing to do, just sit here for the whole of the championship picture, but I think my voice would die, and maybe I would die, and I don't really want that to happen. But I do not feel like we're going to get David Wagner. Maybe no one wants to hear from David Wagner. We heard very briefly from Enzo Maresca, so they rattled on from that so quickly that probably isn't necessary, is it? So, as great as my ticker looks, I'm happy with that ticker. Look at that. No mistakes in it. Dewsbury Hall, Mavi, Didi, Vardy, 90 plus 3, Sarah 20. Yeah, it looks good. And I think maybe in future, I would adjust these two. Next time I would adjust them to arrows. I think that looks better. Yeah, that looks better. Right, pretty convinced now that there is going to be no David Wagner, and you can all catch that on the Pinken and Radio Norfolk if you want it, and of course the Norwich City social media feeds, and you'll be able to hear more Leicester reaction from the various places. Rob Tanner, the Athletics Leicester writer, he was there following on from all the stuff. I think he was anyway. I'm hoping he was, because I was hoping to speak to him later. I have stuff to get on with, and I'm now going to get on with that. But thank you so much for joining me for this live stream on Twitch and Facebook, and I forgot I was on Facebook and YouTube. It's been much fun, and I think as a format is entirely transferable to other occasions. The stream seems to have held up as well. I don't know. We'll see what the quality looks like, but it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. In the meantime, I will leave you with some music and some signing out stuff. What music shall we have? Let's have a bit of, is Feeding the Ducks still around? I'll leave you with Feeding the Ducks until next time, which might be later today. Keep an eye out on the same social platform, probably around 6:30, and maybe then around 9 o'clock. We'll see. I'll try. I'll do my best, but certainly around 6:30. And if not, join Benjamin Bloom, because he'll be doing a great job on the Ipswich Southampton stream. What a game. I will be watching that game. Look forward to it. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other, obviously. Goodbye. Here's Feeding the Ducks. I'll do a live. Let's do a live final slate. Hang on in there. You can listen to, you can watch me while I do it. The problem with this stuff is if I try and sing along with Feeding the Ducks, I'll be in time in my ear, but I don't think it comes through. I think there's a delay, so it doesn't come through on time to you guys. It probably sounds terrible. Sorry. Well done if you're still watching now. I think you're probably done. Probably a quicker way of doing this, but almost certainly, in fact. So let's okay, here we go. I don't agree. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Have I all? Right, that's me done. No more fresh comments to. Yeah, shall I just stream from this room until the end of the season? I'm not going to do that. It's a sad moment as I say goodbye to the ticker. It served me well. Have a lovely rest of your time. I'm going to have some lunch and I may well see you later. Goodbye.